All right, welcome. Thank you very much for coming back to another episode of a Notch Higher Living YouTube channel. As you can see, we have another beautiful, wonderful, tremendous guest today. Hello, Amber.
Hello. Thank you so much, Jasmine, for inviting me on the show. I'm happy to be here.
Oh my goodness, thank you for coming. You came with the energy, so I'm gonna come up a little bit. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I felt I was a little mellow, and then you came. I'm like, wait, let's match that energy, Jasmine. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm so grateful that you are here as I wrote my. You are a brand writer and strategist. I wanted to say that
Right.
like specifically like that. A brand writer and strategist. So we met through a collective, through Marshawn Daniels' Destiny Collective,
Right.
and you were someone. The way that we connected, it was amazing. Well, we connected on Instagram, but then I looked more up into your brand, and I was just like, hey, I may want to, look at your
Yes.
services. So we ended up working together, and I ended up using your services actually. And then I told you about my YouTube channel. The reason why I
Right.
wanted to start the interview this way, because I wanted to have it, I guess, visually seen, or people can hear how this just organically came to be. And your brand is so important to a lot of people, and I want the story just to unfold. So I'm going to let you tell your background as a writer, and then I'm going to go into a few questions if you don't mind.
Absolutely. So I have been writing since I was 5 years old, writing poetry, short stories, everything you name it. But I actually have a minor degree in writing for my undergrad degree. So
Okay.
I've been writing professionally since 2009. So kind of took it up a
Long time.
level. We had to, to graduate, we had to do like a final paper and stuff that got actually published. So I've been a published writer for a little while, but I got into resume writing kind of on the fluke. And I say that because I end up right after graduate school, I graduated in 2012, got my master's in media communications, looking
Okay.
for a job like any college student, and was like, let me put my resume together. So put my resume together, looking for a job, took my resume to a job fair, and somebody snatched my resume up. And I thought something was wrong. So they snatched my resume up and it was like, let me take this to somebody.
Okay.
I'm mortified. I'm like, oh my God, my resume must be trash. It must be
Right.
horrible. They took my resume to this counter. It was a resume checker counter. Didn't even know they had that at the job fair. So I walk over there. Everybody's having their resume check, and they're like, "Look at this resume. Look at this resume. Look how good it is." And they were
Oh,
just like going
wow.
on and on about how good my resume was, and I was just like, "What? My resume?" And so they start asking me all these questions, like, "How did you do this? Like, did you write this yourself?" And I'm like, "Absolutely, yes." And they was like, "Well, are you a resume writer?" I'm like, "No, I just, wrote my resume."
Wow.
So after that, I told my friends about it. They looked at it and they're like, well, hey, if I need a resume done, can you do my resume? I'm like, well, sure. So it started off kind of like 2013, 14, 15-ish, me kind of just doing my friends and family's resume for free. They would come to me and I would just do their resume, change the templates I found online and just kind of, do their resumes. And
Hmm.
then in 2016, 17, I just started getting an increase of their friends and stuff coming to me. And it was like,
Like, right. The
okay,
network
it's
is
like
growing.
expanding now. Like it's not just my family and friends, like
Right.
their friends were like, hey, can you do it? And I was still doing it for free, not thinking much of it. And then finally, one of my best friends came to me and she said,
Mhm.
let me tell you something. No more resume writing for free. You're going to turn this into a business and I'm going to give you your first 3 paid clients. So literally, I didn't have a
Wow.
choice. It wasn't even, it was like, hey, I'm emailing these people's information. They're going to contact you. Either you contact them, but you're going to do their resume and you're going to charge them. So this is in 2018. I literally did not charge them hardly anything, maybe $25, $30. Like, oh, no big
Wow.
deal. I'm just gonna, do it because I really enjoyed doing it. I got better over time as I did
Sure.
it. So started off in 2018 and it was like boom, boom, bam. I mean, like word of mouth was crazy. Everybody started coming to me. I didn't have a website. All I had was an Instagram page. The Instagram page you found me on. That's all I had.
Okay.
How I would generate business, I would literally post a sample of what I've done. And literally people be like, okay, can you do mine? And I
Right.
literally do probably like 30, 40 resumes within like the end of the year. I started probably the summertime, June, and did probably about 30 going into the year because that many people just kept reaching out to me. That's why I say, like, if you're an entrepreneur,
Mhm.
don't let not having a website stop you. Like, I literally did not have a website and I was getting referrals to do resumes like crazy. I feel like I
Wow.
even had more, clients back then before my resume than I do now. And that's because I'm a little bit more selective now with clients I take. But
That
back
makes
then I was
sense.
like, anybody, come on, I'll do your resume. And so I end up getting a business coach to kind of help me with the business aspect. And then I
Okay.
also said, okay, if I'm going to make this a business, I'm going to invest more in the writing. So I'm going to actually take resume writing courses. I'm going to learn, I'm going to study, I'm going to perfect this craft and actually be a resume writer, not just a writer that writes resumes, but actually a
Mm.
resume writer. So, like I said, I took classes, went on YouTube, watched videos, like bought books literally, and was like,
Right.
I'm going to make this a real business, a legit, side business for me. So that's how I actually got into resume writing.
That is an amazing story. Like the way that you even described how they were like they snatched it up, like you're like, what's going on?
Yeah, I
Like,
was afraid.
right.
I was like, oh my God, it must be horrible.
Wow. And they were like, oh no, this is something that we need other people to see. So you made a good point with that. And I want to ask you to share with people why you feel that being confident and having intention about telling your story or your resume, because obviously whatever you did, I don't know if you can remember what you did with that first resume where it got somebody's attention, but it sounds like you were intentional about what you wanted and you were confident in how you put it together. Can you explain to people why that's important when you're putting together your story and your resume?
Absolutely. If you think about a story, you think about like a main character. Think about, like, for instance, we're going to say you're a hero in your own story.
Hmm.
So for me, it was the confident that know that I had accomplished a lot, even in my short adult life. Whereas like the things I did in college, I did an
Yes.
internship at the Attorney General's office.
Oh, wow.
I had like a lot of different things that I did, and I did notable things while I was there. So I felt like, you know what, I am going to be a great candidate. Like, I might not have the most experience for as an actual job, but I have a lot of intern experience.
Yes.
And then, I just know that I've done a lot of great volunteer work, community work. I had worked with different nonprofits doing their media communications for them. So I had all of that experience and skills to show that I am a valuable asset to any organization. So I might be on the low experience, but I am not for as quality and value what I can bring to an organization. So you
Yes.
have to know that just because, like, a lot of college students I work with, they're like, "Hey, I don't have that much." Okay, were you in a sorority? Were you in a fraternity? Were you in any memberships? Like, there's always different things that you can pull from that you can show that you have experience from.
Yes.
So that's where the confidence came that I actually had experience from the nonprofit world and just from the internships to bring to it. Also, I mean, having a writing background was helpful because, I mean, I do have a degree in writing, so I obviously know how to write, but
Hmm.
also the willingness, to actually go out there and learn. So my story really kind of merged from me learning about other people in my career field, what they did, looking at resumes from other people that were on higher levels than me, and looking at what I call the best of the best and taking kind of like different little points from them and incorporated in my story. So the number one thing to know when you are writing a resume or you're getting a resume done, you want your resume writer, whether it be you or someone you hire, to understand that you have to show what value you bring. It's not just about your job duties. Anybody can list and copy and paste their job description and put it on a resume. What sets you apart from other job applicants is that you have value, you have achievements, you have accomplishments, you have initiatives that you have put together, projects that you have seen. So that's what they're looking for. That's what hiring managers want to see. They want to see that leadership aspect. And I definitely had that. And I felt confident in that. So when I wrote the resume, I put at the very top of it all my accomplishments before I actually got into my experience. I want, just like your
Okay.
resume, if you notice, I put your achievements before I actually start even getting into your experience. 'Cause I want to let them know this is my achievements. These are my high points. So before you even get into my experience, this is what I can bring you right off the bat to your organization, to your company. So
Yes.
that's why it's important to know that your resume is more than just actual a document. It's a story and you are the hero. So you have to treat yourself like the hero in the story.
I love it because I have experienced personally your process and your format and your style, and that's exactly what you did with me. When I saw my after, I was just like, I know I gave her this information and I know I
Nice.
told her what I did, and that's what you told me, to focus on my accomplishments and my achievements. And you said don't just worry about tasks, don't just write those things down.
No.
But I tell you, now I hear like even how you made it interlace. I want to say interwoven, but it was like you integrated. That's the word I want. Integrated
Yes.
everything, but like you said, you projected the story in a way that confidence and intention. I saw that because I was just like, I know this is me, but the way that you did it, it was so um it was a master craftsman. That's what it is. It wasn't that you made something up about me. You even pulled out, I believe you are a seer, or you can tell. Even when we talked, you said no leadership, and you pulled out things that an organization, and that's what you've pulled out, like even just talking and hearing from me. So
Right.
what I hear you saying is that we have to be confident, not just in what we do in the task, but who we are, and allow that story to be told. And like you said, if we don't have someone else doing it for us, we can do it for ourselves. But the beauty of having you specifically, it was you gave me back some confidence, because I know I've led and I know that I've been in leadership roles and things of that nature, but sometimes you kind of get, kicked in the shins, or things happen and you just kind of sit down and take a breath and a breather. But the way that you said, like, oh my goodness, wow. And it wasn't that you were affirming me in a way that I didn't know certain things, but we need to be reminded. And I believe that
Absolutely.
that confidence and that intention that you're talking about, like when we're talking about our career and our vocation and the things that we want to do, it's really important for us to know. Not because a job will give us an amount of money, but for us to be able to show up and shine in our role because of who we are. So you and your services definitely pulled that out like 125,000%, ma'am. So for those who are not in a corporate role or not looking for a role, but more entrepreneurial, because you even helped me. I explained to you, like, I want to be able to showcase some things that I'm doing at work, obviously, and I want to be able to leverage my skills at work, but I also wanted to look out for the things that I was doing entrepreneurially. So, what do you offer, or what are the services that you offer to someone who's looking for their entrepreneurial um, branding?
Right. So I have two services that would be great for that. I do professional biographies, which includes copywriting for like your website, or if it's like a
Nice.
traditional biography, I can do that, or even kind of your social media page. Also, I do LinkedIn. So I do LinkedIn for obviously people who are looking for a job, but I also do
Hmm.
LinkedIn for entrepreneurs because LinkedIn is like your digital resume. So whether you are an entrepreneur or you're in the professional career world, either way it goes, like LinkedIn is like a basically digital portfolio, a resume.
Yes.
So I help people like optimize their pages to make sure they're
Okay.
reaching out to their target audiences. So obviously, if I'm looking for a job, I'm looking for employers. If I am an entrepreneur, I'm looking for clients. So there's certain verbiages, certain things you want to showcase, and say with that. I also teach strategy because I'm a brand writer and I'm a strategist because when I'm talking to someone, not only do I give you, right for you, I also strategize. So with LinkedIn, there's a lot of strategy. This is kind of a free tip for anybody. The great thing about LinkedIn is not so much, the digital part of displaying your information is the engagement. That's the most important part with LinkedIn. I can't teach you that. I can't write that for you. I can write your profile. I can write your skills and all of that. and do you a banner and all of that and create that for you, but I cannot create you engaging with people. People that are more engaged on LinkedIn get more opportunities. I've had so many different opportunities, leadership opportunities, not so much for a job, but training, because I'm very passionate about leadership. I'm passionate about good leaders, servant leaders. So I've had a lot of people connect with me based on my posts, engaging on their posts, and just being in different groups about different leadership opportunities, training to further myself. So, whatever you're looking for in LinkedIn, you make the right connections, engagement, you can kind of, get to where you need to be. So I always say don't sleep on LinkedIn, but I offer services to entrepreneurs towards biographies and LinkedIn optimization.
Okay, nice, nice. So, can you, without giving any descriptors, because I want to keep your clients confidential, can you give a couple of examples of clients that you have helped?
Yes, I've helped clients, I've helped CEOs, I've obviously helped you. I think one of my most favorite clients, you were very open.
Thank you.
I've helped clients in so many different industries. From I'm working on a police officer. No, I just finished a police officer. I'm working on a firefighter now.
Oh, wow.
So I have worked with probably over 30 industries that I have done over the last, 2018. So the last couple of years, 5 years. So I'm not a person that only works with some clients. Like, you have some resume writers only do like tech resumes, or they only do medical, nurse, and I do all
Yes.
industries. If I don't really understand the industry, then guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to
More
research. I'm
research.
going to learn. I'm going to find out about it. I'm going to ask my client as many questions as I can to kind of get a feel for that. So because I've had some couple clients that I'm like, hey, I've never really kind of, even immerse myself in that industry to know what's going on, especially when you get to the tech world.
Hmm.
But the more you do it as a resume writer, the more the language becomes natural and you understand. But I've had, clients from all industries that I've worked with. So from people working in janitorial work to people literally as the CEOs of companies. So, and I've also worked with people out of the country. So, different countries, Africa,
Wow.
I've worked with people in England, and so Canada, so, just different places. I mean, I don't discriminate. Now
I
in other
hear that.
countries,
Yes.
you
And
know,
you, yes.
uh, it's
No,
CV. So in America, we do resumes. In a lot of other country, it's CV. It's like a resume, but it's a little bit different.
exactly. Hmm.
So that's something actually I want to tap more into and learn about, because CVs, it's like a resume, but it's formatted a little different.
It's
Other
formatted.
countries,
Yes.
they do CVs.
Correct,
So
correct. And you know what I love about the way that you explain that? Just the way that you talked about engagement. The way that even how your story began, it's almost like you just continue to grow and you're not being hindered or you're not being stifled by one industry. So that will give your brand a different feel and a different breath for any other people because you're able to hone in and pick up, and then your willingness to learn, it actually is really speaking to your client too, and your ideal client, to say like, hey, you don't have to know it all. That's why you're hiring someone like me, and if you're
absolutely.
willing and you're open, you can take this further than what you would have expected. But your willingness to do this, I love how you just express that, because I think sometimes people are so accustomed to, oh, it has to be this way or it has to look like this. And then that boxes out other opportunities. So, one thing, when I thought about it, I was just like, well, maybe some people will listen and say, like, a resume or brand strategist and a resume writer, what does this have to do about healthy relationships? And I thought about it because I was just like, our vocation, that's one of the areas that I do have
Mhm.
as healthy by design, is our calling that affects and impacts so many different people's lives. Some people just have a job and they just say, hey, I just do this. But everyone has a call or they have a purpose, whether they're working for a nonprofit, like you said, across all industries, for profit, education. They have a
Right.
purpose and they have something that they are designed and called and purpose to do. So I wanted to tie this in with healthy relationships or healthy relating skills, because when you're working with people, you're working with people. So you have
Right.
to have a way to engage with people. How would you have people look at their career or their vocation and even what you do in a healthy way? because again, you already talked about intention and confidence and what you were created to do, so to speak. But what would you encourage? How can you encourage people to say, like, hey, not simply a resume, but like you said, telling and crafting their story and sharing it with the world? How would you encourage people?
So I'm going to tell you a secret to how I do it. I do not do any resumes that if they don't have a clear strategy. So if somebody comes to
Mhm.
me and they say, "Hey, I'm just looking for a job," they don't know what
Ah,
industry, they just want a new job. I'm more than likely it's not going to work with that client because they don't have any intentionality. They just basically want a job. And I don't do general resumes. All my resumes are tailored to a specific industry or a specific job. That makes me better as a writer, that makes me know what I'm writing and makes the story the best it can possibly be. So if you're like, I just want a job, I'm not the resume writer. I've literally sent people to other people and they can do this for you. Because this is the thing about it is a job and a career are two different things. A job, you can work a job, but that's not necessarily a career. A career enables you to tell a story when you're working in a career, right? Because you can go from different industries with the job. You can literally be a waitress, and then you can work in, telecommunications. But when you are dealing with a career, it normally has a path, a forward movement. So you start off here, maybe intro level, you get into mid level, and then you get into senior level, right? So it shows progression in that particular area. It's very specific. So I want my clients to know, listen, we tell stories, right? And I only can tell the story if you have a story. Because a job that's just kind of scattered, I can't do anything with that, right? But when I see you in this certain industry, or even if you're changing careers, say for instance, you were a teacher and now you want to get into tech, like I can even work with that. I can take some skills from teacher and basically we call them skills where you can basically take those skills and transform them to something else, and we can do that. But it's really important that they have a vision for what they want themselves to be, where they want to go in their career. And that's how I work with that. So, having that vision helps me have a vision. It gets my seer anointing going because I'm a woman of faith, and I don't you don't have to be a faith-based person to work with me, but that gift is going to kick in because it's natural to me.
that
So when they
is.
have a vision, I normally can connect to their vision, and then the strategy part comes out. So I'm a writer, but then the strategy comes out when we're doing the discovery session, and then we're talking like me and you're talking. I'm able to kind of like, okay, this is what I'm seeing, this is where they're going. I've literally told clients, you know what? I'm not gonna do your resume. Right now, seems like you don't know what you really want to do. Get back with me if you ever decide what you know what you want to do, but I'm not gonna take your money. You have some people that will literally take people's money, and I'm not
Mhm.
boosting any resume writer, but if I feel they're not confident when they're talking to me and this is not something they really want to do, I will not do their resume. I just won't do it. Right? Because I have an integrity code about myself. And
Yeah.
when I write a person's resume, it's not just for money. It's really like you say, so you can exude that confidence in that person. When I write a person's resume, my ultimate job is not only to get them a job, but to build their confidence. Because, most people, when I had that experience, when they snatched my resume, it was such
Right?
a life-changing experience for me because, I mean, it was like hundreds of people at this job fair. And here they are snatching my resume up and saying, this is like the best resume we didn't seen
Right.
all
And
day.
just
And I'm like, oh my God. So
exactly.
it let me know that resume writing is not a skill that everybody has, It's something that either
Exactly.
you have a gift for it or you're like me, you kind of have a gift for writing and then you kind of take that gift to the next level and you specialize it in resume writing. So I know that what I do is a gift and it's going to help my clients not only get a job but make them feel good about themselves. Like you say, make them look at their previous experience and say, you know what, I've done great. I'm amazing. That's the ultimate goal. So that's what the story part comes in. We have to tell a story, and I need you to be clear and in alignment where you're trying to go so I can help you get there. But if you don't know, it's not my job, to get you there. Now, some people will call themselves career strategists and all of that. I'm more of a writer, but I also have the gift of strategy. So I'm like, hey, I'm not gonna because I don't want to tell somebody wrong. I'm like, I might see marketing and you're like, that ain't what I want to do. So we're not in alignment, like that's not gonna be a client that I'm gonna be able to work with. But if we're in alignment, like, hey, you're like, well, I'm thinking marketing. I got a kind of a little bit experience in there. We can work with that because, like, you might just be afraid to kind of take that next step, and the resume can kind of help you get there. But if you don't know, or if you're like, I just need a job, I need a job, I'm like, yeah, I can't help you because I can't help you exude that confidence. Like, that can't get you to that level. That's the relationship building for me is being honest about what I can and cannot do. And that connection to me is everything. 'Cause I've literally had several clients where I'm like, get back with me. Some of them have, some of them have not. And if they don't, no hard feelings, but I am not going to, take 2 steps down just to earn, some money. Like, this is not how I operate. That's not my level of integrity.
That makes sense. I'm sorry. I was on mute and I was trying to get off mute to listen to you. That makes so much sense. And I love how you said the difference between a job and a career, because I think that in the healthy part of life, that honestly some people, they've never had a vision for their life because it's only been about a job. It's just like, okay, I
Absolutely.
work and that's all there is. So I think I really want to have people hear what you said, Amber, and how it's so important to have a vision for your own life, even if you haven't gotten there and if you haven't made it there, or it doesn't seem like anything is coming together. People have some type of belief. Sometimes it's been broken. And I think
Absolutely.
listening to you say that, I think I want people to hear that if you do not have a vision for your life, in the best way that you know how, because you're worthy, I want you to take a pause and I want you to start writing down those things that give you joy, that you have a passion about, things that you like to do when you were younger, because once you have that story and once you can put the pieces together for yourself, like you said, Amber, you can develop into a path. And that path, and I'm grateful that you said it that way, that's what healthiness is all about. It's a development cycle. It's moving from one place to the next. It's not a
Absolutely.
stagnant place. It's not just, oh, I'm here and then I'm going to try this here. Not even just for work, literally for every part of your life. Like if you have relationships, you don't just start and stop relationships randomly. You don't just start and stop with your finances randomly. With your emotions, there has to be a path. And the way that your process worked for me, I can say personally for me, it helped me see that my task and my duties aren't the sum total of Jasmine. And I think
Yeah.
sometimes people can just settle in that and say, oh, I just do. Oh, I just do. And it's like, I'm telling you, when we put it together, I can say that I knew that those things happened, but you breathe life back into me and life back into my story. So I would like you to um, I would like you to share if you have any programs, your services. How can people connect with you? Because I do want in this healthy space of being who we are vocationally in our calling, if you're in a role and you don't want to leave your job, like for me, I don't want to leave my place of employment. I do want to, as I'm going through the process, I'm in different programs, I want to be seen in the confident light that I know I am. But I had to work with you to tell that story. So, how can people work with you, whether they're needing a new job, they're unemployed, they're wanting to, 10x their current position? How can people work with you?
Absolutely. So one of the ways you can work with me is that you can go to my Instagram page, which is She Writes Friends, and you find me on Instagram. You can literally click the link in my bio and you can schedule a free 15-minute discovery session. So in the discovery session, a lot of times it goes over 15 minutes, but that's just kind of like, any preliminary. But we do the 15-20 minute session. We can talk about my different services, how I can help you, whether it's resume writing, LinkedIn, whether it's, the biography, whatever it is that you need. And then if you just need some help, because I literally help people write their own resumes, right? For instance, especially if you come to me last minute. Like one of my pet peeves is like, don't come to me and the job closes like 2 days from now. Like I'm not gonna do it. Like I'm not a 24-hour rush because I still have a 9 to 5 myself. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you and give you some skills and some tools that you can use to kind of like fix your own resume up. So it doesn't necessarily mean have to write your resume. I am a resume writer, but I can kind of help you if you want to do it yourself. If you don't have time, I literally have no problem doing that because of timing purposes. Now, if I had the time to do it and you come to me within the time, because I normally do 3 to 5 days turnarounds on resumes, sometimes longer. With yours, obviously, it took a little bit longer. I was going through flu and, grieving, just lost a family member. So it was a little bit different, but typically I'm normally 3 to 5 days so I can get to the next client and go on. But yeah, you can reach out to me or you can go to my website. If you want to see samples of my work, you can go to
Mhm.
www.shewritesbrands.com. I have a page where you can look at my different resume samples. I'm actually going to be updating probably yours, Jasmine. It's one of my absolute favorites. It's going to be updated on there this
Okay,
weekend.
nice.
Your resume, it'll be Jane Doe, won't be your name, but
Okay.
I do all James Doe's, John Doe's out of respect. Or I think I actually have a theme, a movie theme. I think I actually named the names after like songs and movies. So maybe it'll be some R&B song is your name.
Beauty Maz, I love it. I love it. But you
So
definitely have to showcase that. That it's a work of art. That literally is what it is, everyone.
yes,
Like, I have not seen a resume look like that. And it was mine, but I was blown away. Like the first draft, I was like, I know this is me, but it's like going to a makeover. Literally, and I love makeovers,
absolutely.
so
That's
yes,
always my I used to watch the Style Channel and when they used to have that. And remember like the makeovers, like they would have these shows and you would bring your friend on that
love
wasn't,
it.
didn't know how to dress.
Yes,
And remember at the end they do the big reveal. That's always kind of how I imagine my clients looking at their resume, like this big reveal, like this big before and after. So what you felt and experienced is exactly what I try to make sure every client
you
experiences when
did
they get
it.
their resume. So
You
yeah.
did it. You completely did that, and I love those shows too. So what you nailed that because that's how I felt. It was like,
Absolutely.
and it was that like before and after because it was like I know this is my resume because I gave it to her. I gave you the other information, and you like you said that discovery. I would tell people if you need a boost, go through her discovery session. If you want to go and you want to, even in your current role, if you want to present yourself even more polished and more like profound, that's what I would say.
Absolutely.
Definitely do that because I think, honestly, Amber, to a certain degree, you have a coaching element in there too because
Absolutely.
I went to work differently because it was just like, whoa, I'm not simply doing tasks. I'm simply not, we can get into a rut. So I definitely encourage people if you are looking to make a move or you're wanting to get into another role, you want to transition and you're in that space for entrepreneurs, definitely make that discovery call with Amber because like you said, it was um, so much in there that I can't explain your process because I know it's a part of who you are. So, like you said, it's definitely custom. And I'm grateful that I was one of the ones that you were willing, not willing, but you could say, oh no, I can work with you because you were like, oh no, I'm working with you. As opposed to if I were like, well, I'm not sure. And literally, I remember writing down the things that I was looking for. And you were like, oh yeah, yep, yep, we can do that. So
Yes,
I'm
absolutely.
grateful. Yes,
But
yes,
it goes back to what you're saying. You had a vision. You didn't, resume writing isn't your skill per se, but you had a vision of what you wanted to be incorporated in the resume. So
yes,
you might not have the skills and talents that I do to put it together, but you had a vision of what you wanted to be showcased. And then there's some
yes,
things you didn't know. And that's where my gift comes in is like, hey, we're going to highlight this, we're going to do
yes.
that. Because that's a part of the story. Remember, we're telling a
Mhm.
story. So, me having the experience as a writer, writing stories, actually nonfiction, fiction stories, all of that, that actually helps with the resume writing. Because remember, we're the hero, right?
Yes,
And so we're
yes,
trying to show the hero in that light. We're trying to show all the hero's superpowers and all of that. So that's how I approach the style of every resume. So it's like, hey, you got to be confident in you. You might not be able to articulate it like I can, but I can, like we were saying, the energy I had at the beginning, I feed off energy. So I'm like, okay, you have energy. I'm gonna put that energy in there. So you gotta
yes,
feel confident about yourself, you know? And a lot
yes,
of people feel like, well, I don't know what I want to do and all of that. Yes, you do. Most time, yes, you do know what you want to do. You just think because you don't really have the experience in it or little that
yes,
you can't do it. But every job leads to the next job, which can lead to a career, right? Remember, jobs and careers are separate, but you can take a job kind of background, what I say was scattered, and make that a career because you can connect some different dots to it. So if you have
Yes.
a vision, we can make it come to life.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Now we're going to circle around because we're almost through with this beautiful and engaging and very informative interview. Now, I think you have some things coming up, or you have something special that people could possibly connect with you with, not simply your magnificent and spectacular services, but I think you're going to be having a course. Can you share a little bit about that so that people who may be interested can connect with you on this level too?
Absolutely. So I'm in the process right now of creating a resume writing course. It's going to be called the She Writes Brands Way.
All
And
right.
basically, it's kind of like my process of writing resumes. What I've discovered over the last 5 years that I've had so many clients come back to me, repeat clients over and over again. Amber, can you update my resume? And it's something so simple. And I'm like, you know what? What if I just taught clients how to write their own resumes,
Mhm.
right? For one, I kind of want to get out of it actually doing one-on-one resumes and kind of free my time a little bit more to do a little bit more actual book writing, ebooks and more hardcore books. So
Nice.
I want to have that time, but I also feel like that I have the skills to be able to teach people. I'm a teacher by nature too. So I feel like I can take people step by step. So because every time you apply for a job, you should change your resume. You should not use the same resume for every job,
Ouch.
right?
Exactly.
So, and a lot of people use the same general resume for every job, and you shouldn't do that. So, one of the things I feel like as a resume writer, I can teach people is how to basically take one resume and be able to flip it and maneuver it to, apply for each job that you see. So I'm gonna take people from a basic level, like say for instance, if you have no writing skills, I'm gonna take you just from point A to literally point Z. We're gonna go
Okay.
through, how to write a resume, what do hiring managers look for in resumes, different resume secrets, different resume tips, templates to use. I'm even going to do a bonus on how to do your cover letter. All of that's going to be in the
Nice.
course. So I'm in the process of creating it, putting the workbooks right now,
Okay.
getting my script together for the actual video part. So I just want to teach people how to do it themselves because I've had so many repeat clients come to me and I'm
Hmm.
like, you know what? What if I just taught them how to do it themselves, right? Because every time you come to me, depending on what you're coming in for, it can be a free, or if you're wanting me to do like a total rehaul, then I'm going to charge you. So I've
Right.
literally worked with some of the same clients over and over again. And I'm like, you know what? They could save that money. I could be a blessing to them and just teach them, some of my skills and techniques, and they can write their own resumes, right? Because resume
Right.
writing isn't that hard, right? I think we make it more complicated than it needs to be. It's just a certain way formatting and just kind of a certain way with words. And even if you're
Hmm.
not a writer per se, you can write your own resume. Because remember, you're the hero of your own story. So once you have that
Nice.
mindset that you're the hero, you're going to articulate yourself in that way. And I'm going to take you step by step through the course on how to do that.
That's beautiful because you're right. Like when you find out you're the hero, it's like you're the shero. It's like, oh, we'll figure it out. So it's
You're
gonna
gonna
like
figure
you're
it
gonna
out,
garner,
absolutely,
yes,
and
all
it's
of
gonna
the
take you
whatever.
literally step by step to figure it out. You're not gonna I mean, literally, I'm gonna take you through each section of the resume. We're gonna start even with just the contact, how you should write the contact. We're gonna break it all down for
Nice.
you. And so I'm going to teach you about how to actually upload it online, the correct way, the correct formatting. So it's going to be basically like if you hired my
Wow.
services, but you're going to it. And I hope a lot of people actually, after they take the course, help other people like I did with resume writing. So,
Right.
you don't have to
Right.
do it for free like I did for the first couple of years, but you basically can be like, hey, let me look at your resume. I can kind of give you some tips. So my ultimate goal is for them to actually help other people, not just themselves once they finish the course.
So are you gonna incorporate a train the trainer type of style? Or have you thought about that?
That might be something later. For right now, I just wanna teach anybody that with a basic level of writing
Okay.
how to be a resume writer. So, not a
Nice.
resume writer, but how to write a resume.
Makes
So
sense. Okay. Okay. So can you please share with people how they can connect with you again? And I'll ask you one final question.
absolutely. So, you can find me Two ways. Go on my Instagram page, She Writes Brands, or you can go to www.shewritesbrands.com. Look at all my different services, or look at my portfolio, kind of see some samples of my work if you're interested. And definitely make sure if you follow me on Instagram, if you come across my Instagram page, that you follow me.
Yes, I love it. Beautiful. So thank you very much, Amber. I'm going to ask you one final question, and then this will end our interview for today. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your wisdom, sharing your skill, expertise, and your calling and gift with us today. So I'm going to ask you to just share with the viewers, whoever would watch this video, if they have had either they've been dejected or they don't have a vision, or their vision seems like too big for them. If they were sitting with you, I would like you to, if you could have them, if you could say what you would say with them and give them a word of encouragement, would you please do that, like you were speaking to the one person in front of you who said, like, well, I don't think I can. But before they left out of your presence, what would you say to them?
So we're gonna find the solution, right? So when I have clients come to me and they're in that vein, majority of them, they actually do know what they want. There's something they feel like they don't have to get them. So for instance, it might be they want to go into this industry, they don't have a degree, right? So one of the things we're going to do, we're going to what I call improvise. So for instance, you don't have to have a college degree for some of these jobs they say you do. You can have certifications. You can get free certifications online. A lot of schools like Harvard and these high and mighty universities that we wish we can go to, they're actually offering free courses, right? And
That's
you
true.
can take those courses, you can put those courses or those certificates on your resume, and it's just as good as if you went to those schools. Like if you
Hmm.
have that education, that 4-year degree. So I want people to realize there's different alternatives to get to the vision, right? So don't discount yourself because you feel like you don't have a college degree or you don't have that much experience. My best friend's daughter, I did her resume and she just graduated from college, but she had done so much work in her career industry through her sorority, right? She was a
Okay.
Delta and she did a lot of like, what she wanted to get her career started in her sorority, right? Helping with
Okay.
that, doing programs and initiatives. So there's always a way. And if you want to do something, say for instance, there's a career industry for a person that's going to change careers. That's my number one client right there, career changers. I want to change careers, I want to change careers. So it's like, okay, what can you do right now to get you closer to that? So could you volunteer? Could you do a free internship? Could you shadow somebody, take a course? Like if you're thinking about changing careers, then
Mhm.
what can you do right now at this moment to get you into that career that can be shown on a resume,
Nice.
right? Number
Nice.
one thing I'm going to tell you, take a free course or a paid course. Um, Volunteer in that area. I had a client that worked at Verizon for over 20 years,
Okay.
but she ended up getting a degree in communications, right? But
Mm.
she had worked for Verizon for 20 years, but she wanted to go back to communication. So I was like, well, do you have any communication experience? She was like, yeah, I've done this for my church, for this nonprofit, this and that. So I literally was able to flip her nonprofit work on the
Okay.
resume and kind of like downgrade her work at Verizon for 20 years and show that she had actually, even though she wasn't professionally doing it, she was doing it in the nonprofit sector, and also with her church and different things like that. She was actually acting as their communication person, and then
Okay.
every organization that she was involved with, she did their communication, right?
Mhm.
So those are different ways that you can get into the industry if you feel like you have no professional experience. So don't discount yourself. Like let's look at the different alternatives and how we can make the vision come forth.
I love it. That was so powerful and so beautifully stated. Thank you so much. The purpose of the channel is to create a space and cultivate an environment where healthy relationship skills can be learned, developed, practiced, and thrive. So what you just said is the epitome of that. Sometimes we have to create our own space. We have to cultivate. That means work it. We have to put in the due diligence. We can develop it. We can practice it. We can learn it. ultimately so we can thrive. So Amber, I want to thank you so much for being who you are and coming on today. And for everyone else who has been listening, I want you to check out Amber. And until the next time, you be the best you that you can be by creating your vision or owning your vision, because we know you have a vision. Sometimes we just have to mind that vision. So don't give up, don't give in. You are worth it and you're worthy of the work. So thank you so much, Amber. I look forward to continuing my relationship in a healthy way with you as a new sister friend. And yes, I'm looking forward to your course coming out too. So once you give us the information, we'll have it in the description box. Okay.
Well, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure to be on this show. And like you said, make sure you have a vision and that you're working towards it.
Yeah. So until next time, everybody, we'll see you later.